From my homeland, beyond the red lightning, the clouds come drifting in. But father and mother have long been dead. Now no one knows me there. How soon, how soon, till that quiet time when I too shall rest beneath the sweet murmur of lonely woods, forgotten here as well.
Aus der Heimat hinter den Blitzen rot, da kommen die Wolken her. Aber Vater und Mutter sind lange tot, es kennt mich dort keiner mehr. Ach, wie bald kommt die stille Zeit, da ruhe ich auch, da ruhe ich auch. Und über mir rauscht die schöne Waldeinsamkeit, die schöne Waldeinsamkeit. Und keiner kennt mich mehr hier. Und keiner kennt mich mehr hier.
I bear your beautiful likeness deep within my heart. It gazes at me every hour so freshly and happily. My heart sings softly to itself an old and beautiful song that soars into the sky and swiftly wings its way to you.
Dein Bildnis wunderselig hab ich im Herzensgrund. Das sieht so frisch und fröhlich mich an zu jeder Stund. Mein Herz still in sich singet, ein altes, schönes Lied, das in die Luft sich schwinget und zu dir eilig zieht. Dein Bildnis wunderselig hab ich im Herzensgrund. Das sieht so frisch und fröhlich mich an zu jeder
It is already late, already cold. Why ride lonely through the forest? The forest is long, you are alone. You, lovely bride, I'll lead you home. Great is the deceit and cunning of men. My heart is broken with grief. The hunting horn echoes here and there. Oh, flee, you do not know who I am. So richly adorned our steed and lady, so wondrous fair her youthful form. Now I know you. May God protect me. You are the enchantress Lorelei. You know me well. From its towering rock, my castle looks deep and silent down into the Rhine. It is already late, already cold. You shall never leave this forest again.
Es ist schon spät, es ist schon kalt, was reist du einsam durch den Wald, der wartest lang, du bist allein, du schöne Braut, ich führ dich ein. Groß ist der Männer Trug und List, vor Schmerz mein Herz gebrochen ist. Wo liegt das Ballon hin und hin? O flieh, du weißt nicht, wer ich bin. So reich geschmückt ist Ross und Weib, so wunderschön, der junge Leib. Jetzt kenn ich dich, Gott steh mir bei, du bist die Hexe Lorelei. Du kennst mich wohl, von neuem Stein schaut still mein Schloss tief in den Rhein. Es ist schon spät, es ist schon kalt. Kommst nimmermehr aus diesem Wald, nimmermehr aus diesem Wald.
No one knows, and no one can guess how happy I am, how happy. If only one, just one man knew, no one else ever should. The snow outside is not so silent, nor are the stars on high, so still and silent as my own thoughts. I wish it were already morning. 2 larks would fly aloft, one flying above the other. My heart follows their path. I wish I were a little bird and could fly across the sea and further, until I were in heaven.
Es weiß und rät es durch keine, wie mir so wohl ist, so wohl. Ach, wüsst es nur einer, kein Mensch es sonst wissen soll. So still ist nicht draußen im Schnee, so stumm und verschwiegen sind die Sterne nicht in der Höhe, als meine Gedanken sind. Ich wünscht, ich wär ein Vöglein und zöge über das Meer, wohl über das Meer und weiter, bis dass ich im Himmel wär. Es weiß und rät es doch keine, wie mir so wohl ist, so wohl. Ach, wüsst es nur einer, kein Mensch es sonst wissen soll. Kein Mensch es sonst wissen soll.
It was as though heaven had softly kissed the earth, so that she in a gleam of blossom had now to dream of him. The breeze passed through the fields, the corn swayed gently to and fro, the forests murmured softly, the night was so clear with stars, and my soul spread its wings out wide, flew across the silent land, as though flying home.
Es war, als hätte Himmel die Erde still geküsst, dass sie im Blüten von ihm nur träumen müsst. Die Luft ging durch die Felder, die Ähren wogten sanft. Es rauschten leis die Wälder, so sternklar war die Nacht, und meine Seele spannte weit ihre Flügel aus, flog durch die stillen Lande, als flöge sie nach Haus.
The tree-tops rustle and shudder, as if at this very hour the ancient gods were pacing these half-sunken walls. Here, beyond the myrtle trees, in secretly twilit splendor, what are you telling me, fantastic night? Obscurely, as in a dream. The glittering stars gaze down on me, fierily and full of love. The distant horizon speaks with rapture of some great happiness to come.
Es rauschen die Wipfel und schauen, was mag denn zu dieser Stund die halbversunkenen Mauern, die alten Götter, die rund hier hinter den mirten Bäumen in heimlich dämmender Pracht. Was sprichst du wie in Träumen?
Up there at his lookout, the old knight has fallen asleep. Rainstorms pass overhead, and the wood stirs through the portcullis. Beard and hair matted together, ruff and breast turned to stone, for centuries he sat up there in his silent cell. Outside it's quiet and peaceful. All have gone down to the valley. Forest birds sing lonely songs in the empty window arches. Down there on the sunlit Rhine, a wedding party sailing by. Musicians strike up merrily, and the lovely bride weeps. I hear the brooklets murmuring through the forest here and there. In the forest, in the murmuring, I do not know where I am. Nightingales are singing here in the solitude, as though they wish to tell of lovely days now past. The moonlight flickers, as though I saw below me the castle in the valley, yet it lies so far from here. As though in the garden full of roses white and red, my love were waiting for me, yet she died so long ago.
Ich hör die Bächlein rauschen, im Wald hin und her. Im Wald in dem Rauschen, ich weiß nicht, wo ich bin. Die Nachtigallen schlagen, hier in der Einsamkeit. Was wollten sie was sagen von der alten schönen Zeit?
True, I can sometimes sing as though I were content, but secretly tears well up and my heart is set free. Nightingales, when spring breezes play outside, sing their song of longing from their dungeon cell. Then all hearts listen and everyone rejoices, yet no one feels the pain, the deep sorrow in the song.
Ich kann wohl manchmal singen, als ob ich fröhlich sah, doch heimlich Tränen da wird das Herz mir frei. Es lassen Nachtigalle, spielt draußen Frühlingsluft, der Sehnsucht Liederschalen aus ihres Kerkers Gruft. Da rauschen alle Herzen und alles ist erfreut. Doch eine fühlt die Schmerzen im Lied aus
Dusk is about to spread its wings. The trees now shudder and stir. Clouds drift by like oppressive dreams. What can this dusk and dread imply? If you have a fawn you favor, do not let her graze alone. Hunters sound their horns through the forest. Voices wander to and fro. If here on earth you have a friend, do not trust him at this hour. Though his eyes and lips be smiling, in treacherous peace he's scheming war. That which wearily sets today will rise tomorrow newly born. Much can go lost in the night. Be wary, watchful, on your guard.
Will Hüte dich, sei wach und munter.
A wedding procession wound across the mountain. I heard the warbling of birds. Riders flashed by, hunting horns blared. That was a merry chase. And before I knew, all had faded. Darkness covers the land. Only the forest still stirs from the mountains, and deep in my heart I quiver with fear.
Es zog eine Hochzeit den Berg entlang. Ich hörte die Vögel schlagen. Da blitzen wir Reiter das Waldhorn klang. Das war ein lustiges Jagen. Und ich's gedacht, war alles verhallt. Die Nacht bedecke die Runde, nur von den Bergen noch rauschet der Wald, und mich schaut im Herzensgrunde, und mich schaut im
Over the garden, through the air, I heard birds of passage fly, a sign that spring is in the air, flowers already bloom below. I could shout for joy, could weep, for it seems to me it cannot be. All the old wonders come flooding back, gleaming in the moonlight. And the moon and stars say it, and the dreaming forest whispers it, and the nightingales sing it. She is yours. She is yours.
Überm Garten durch die Lüfte hört ich von der Vögel ziehen, das bedeutet Frühlingsdüfte. Unten fängt's schon an zu blühen. Jauchzen möchte weinen, ist mir's doch das künstlich sein. Alte Wunder wieder scheinen mit dem Mondesglanz herein. Und der Mond die Sterne sagen's, und dem Traume rauscht er ein, und die Nachtigallen schlagen's. Sie ist deiner, sie ist dein.
Tonight or this week, you sing across town at the Met, and you sing in a different style or with a different motivation or a different. What is different about singing this repertoire than on the opera stages for you?
I'd like to believe that they're just as theatrically motivated, but the scale is different. Many of these songs, for example, were made for salons compared to 3,500 seat theaters. And because of that, the palette of colors that you can employ as a singer, as a pianist, perhaps as a chamber group, are so much larger because the space is so much smaller. You're not worried about the farthest seat back hearing you. Instead, everyone is on the edge of their seat because you're so close and intimate. And so these songs and other art songs allow you inside a character in such an intimate way. And I think that you'll see that in these pieces especially.
Mm-hmm. And they're just like little gems. And when I think about, the Romantic period, I think about the miniature, which might be these, and then the momentous, like the monumental, like Wagner, happening, basically in the same period. And it's curious to me that these are just such gems. Each one of them has a different character, and I'm really taken with the counterpoint in the piano parts. They, to me, really signify Schumann's appreciation of Bach and of the Baroque composers, because these are not just chords, these are musical lines, and sometimes the voice is with, sometimes it's not. And Schumann is always nice to put something there for the pianist, like at the end, a little postlude, a couple notes. And,
There's just so much to explore too, and I think he like you said, he was interested in the collaborative nature, not just piano as accompaniment, but piano as voice, piano as a voice that's equal to the singer, I think, and I think there's so much beauty and interest in the pieces and in the piano parts of these pieces, which I love, kind of exploring and seeing how that affects me in the moment.
Well, it's been a pleasure to make music with you tonight, and thank you, Eric.
Thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure.